What is going on? Yep, we in the car. Y'all be seeing that TikTok where that little girl be like, yep. See, when people get to talking, I get to get distracted. But y'all gonna come on this little journey with me. I'm gonna grab me something to eat. One of my favorite things to eat. I'm gonna get me a lobster roll. So you guys might be able to follow me all the way to that journey. And I gotta remember where I'm going. So, I wanted to chat with you all about a little something. Oh, let me turn this off. You know, we encounter different dynamics, right? Whether it's relationship, our spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, etc., our family, friends, co-workers, right? But I want to have a conversation, maybe encourage somebody, maybe y'all just listening to me, which thank you so much for your support, by the way. Of course, if you are interested in any type of one-on-one coaching, go to my Facebook or Instagram and send me a message. You know, so we encounter all different types of relationships. And I was having a conversation with someone, and I was beginning to share with them about certain boundaries that I have put in place. And I began to share the responses of the particular people that I put the boundaries in place for. Now, this is no slight to anybody. I'm not talking about anybody or gossiping about anybody. It's not about that. And here's a couple things that I know we all know, but we just talking about it, right? You can have long-standing, long-lasting friendships. You can have family that's been in your life since you've been born. But what I've learned is you cannot feel guilty about doing what is best for you. Now, hear me. I'm not talking about this petty, immature, my cutoff game is strong, I'm finna do me, and did it because somebody told you something you don't want to hear, so you cutting them off. Or we're not talking about that. We have to realize that there are times in our lives where we have certain relationships, and we may be going in one direction and they may be going in another direction, or we might be going in the same direction and may have a differences of opinions going in the same direction just about your personal life. What do I mean? You ever shared something with a person and they're like not supportive, or they don't agree, and you're kind of just like, why would you respond that way? Or you ever know that you're on a journey to be better, to think differently, and it's like, yeah, I know you knew me when it was a little chaotic. I know you knew me when, you know, it was jumping off and I didn't always have my stuff together. Finances was a little, but you know what? I'm now coming into a place where I'm trying to better those things. And you could kind of share that with the person that you're trying to better those things, and their responses can throw you off. But sometimes in the moment, you don't even really recognize that their response is the way that it is. Now my phone is ringing. I hope you guys can still hear me. And so you have to realize, when you take a moment and you have to think about, why did they respond like that? Why did they get upset because I'm trying to do better? Why did they alter because I'm trying to do better? Because when I wasn't doing my best, it seemed like you was right there. And I was there for you when I was at my worst. But now that it's my turn, or now that I am seeing things differently and I'm wanting to do better, your responses, or watch this, or the lack thereof, that speaks volumes. And I know it's so hard for us to see it because these are relationships that we have with people. We don't go into it thinking that they kind of maybe don't want what's best for us. It's like they don't want us to do bad, but they also don't want us to do better. And that can be for so many different reasons. One of the hardest things is to be able to have a conversation with yourself and admit that there's a breach in a relationship, or a person is changing on you, or you start to realize that some of their advice that you guys used to bond over, right, which was probably not healthy, y'all used to laugh about it and bond over, but now you kind of like, now you starting to listen to some of the things that they talk about, some of the advice that they give, how they feel about certain situations, and you kind of like, I'm not there anymore. I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to grow. And so why am I saying this? Because you can't feel bad for wanting to be better. And you cannot try to hold on to people, places, or things when you're trying to be better. And is it going to be easy? Of course not, because again, that may cause the dynamic of the relationship to shift a little bit, and nobody wants to do that, right? You want things to stay the same. But when you start to realize, hold on a second, things are changing. And when I say things, that can look like anything, because I don't want to give a bunch of different examples. But when you start to sit back, and now when your eyes of understanding become open, when your ears start to be clear, when your heart starts to change, when you want to work on your character, how you see things, how you view things, it'll cause you to begin to listen to what people are saying that you're close with, and start thinking like, have they been talking like this whole time? Have I been like participating in this? Have I also been like subject to this? And have I also been guilty of this? And then when you kind of start to make those sudden changes, you have to be aware of the change in their demeanor, their responses towards you, how they may handle you. And you can't feel bad about that. Because what you'll find is, if you're not sure who those people are, you don't have to force it. Just keep being better. I promise you it'll reveal itself. Now, we're not trying to set people up to reveal, oh, you've been against me. No. Because, hey, if they're for you, you're going to hear it in their language. Even if they're not there yet, you're going to hear it in their language. You're going to see it in their actions. You're going to hear them encouraging you. They don't even have to be where you are. But if they have a problem with it, and I'm using problem loosely because I really don't want to say a certain word there to try to make other people look bad. But if they have a little with it, you'll hear it, you'll sense it, you may feel it, you may discern it. And you don't even have to make this grand old announcement. You could just kind of start, okay, that's interesting. And watch this. You might not catch it right away, but it's going to slowly start to make you, you're going to slowly start to become more aware of the structure of the conversations you have, their responses to your responses. Because my thing is, you shouldn't be saying anything that's counterproductive or unhealthy for my betterment of for the betterment of myself. Why would you say that? Why would you say, girl, you always going to the gym? I be so tired. I don't got time for that. If don't nobody like me, like my body for the way that it is, that's on them. Wait a minute, huh? We're not talking about that though. You should be saying, girl, keep it up. So when you saying you tired, they should be saying, hey, listen, babe, I know you tired, but listen, keep it up. I'm trying to get like you, but I'm woman enough to admit I ain't even there yet. And that's okay. I was looking at the menu. That's just a small example. Or if you're trying to launch out and do something, they may say, are you ready for that? Because you know, inflation, or are you sure? Or just different things like that. And again, you have to use discernment, because it could kind of sound like they trying to help and just trying to bring something to your attention. But just watch the patterns. Listen to the patterns. And it doesn't always mean that they will verbally speak. Use your discernment. And that don't mean you treat them bad, treat them different. That don't mean that doesn't mean that it's always the time to say, why you acting like that? Why can't you support me? Because there's a time and place for everything. God may be saying to you, don't say nothing. You just keep doing you. And wherever you're going, I'll be the judge of who should go with you. Now, if you force it, it's on you. But if you listen and you watch and you pay attention, I'll reveal it to you. 1 second, y'all. Could I have the number 2? And instead of the sauce, could I just get an extra butter sauce, please?
What's the drink with the number 2?
I will take a Coke. And that'll be all.
Did you say a Coke?
Yes.
And then you said no sauce, extra butter?
Yes.
All right, it's just going to be $14.04. You can tap her into
I'm sorry, it's going to be how much?
$14.04. All right, you're all set.
Thank you. Now, I'm kind of confused because maybe their prices changed. I'm going to ask her. Because normally it's $9.99. She said $14.04. Because it's $9.99 with the drink. I could be wrong. But again, this is not to try to catch people up, try to talk about people. And it is going to be hard because I know you don't want the dynamic to shift, right? Because that's what you're used to. That's what you're comfortable with. You know, they've been your counterpart. They've been the person you've expressed to, or whatever the dynamic may be. It could even be with a coworker where you could be trying to get a promotion, or you could be trying to say, you know what, I'm not going to keep entertaining this drama at work. But they may say little things to kind of make you feel like you shouldn't try to move forward from drama and not try to consume your day with drama, right? But don't feel bad. Don't let the enemy make you feel like you're doing anything wrong. And don't make the enemy make you feel like that God doesn't have a plan of action for a healthy replacement, a healthy pause, a healthy break, or a healthy shift in the relationship. It doesn't have to be the end of the world. Because at this point in our lives, especially if you're over the age of 25, and I'm not saying to people who 25 and younger, it doesn't apply, but especially if you're over the age of 25, we should now be coming into a place, and especially if you're 30 and 40 and 50, etc., we should be coming to a place where we're like, you know what? I've been hindered long enough, and I don't want to be hindered anymore. And I'm not trying to give anybody any type of marital advice, if you will, or try to cause a strain on a marriage. But you even have to be mindful of that in a marriage. I've counseled couples where it would be time for the woman to now venture off into her goals and her dreams, and the man would have a problem with it. But yet she's been at home supporting him or putting some of the things that she desires to do on hold for him. But then when it's her turn, it's a little difficult. I've literally counseled couples who were married for years. I've counseled couples who spouses admitted they were jealous. I dated somebody who admitted to me after the fact that they were jealous of me. They were jealous because of how I handled confrontation. They really said, for so long I used to think you were pretending because you never wanted to argue, and you would say, why argue? Let's just, I don't have time for arguments. And I'm like, you were jealous about that? So you just wanted me to be mad and fussing? Who's doing that? And this is when I was a little bit younger, where my attitude and my tone and how I talked was sharp. But I was just like, I don't have time for that. And so in marriages, you want to come to a healthy understanding. And you might even have to ask and have those tough conversations. Honey, what is it about this that's making you fearful? You know, of course, you know your spouse, so you know what words to use. But what I am saying is, don't be afraid to be able to have the conversation when the time is right, when the Lord leads you, because you're not trying to have this conversation so you can end up in a divorce. It's not that. But you also don't want to be hindered, because here's why I say that. There is nobody that is worth not following and obeying God. If I'm not mistaken, he says you shouldn't have no other God before me. And we think that it's just don't serve Buddha, don't serve the stars. No, you can make your husband a God, your wife a God, your job a God, your child a God, your weight a God. That means, are you putting and spending more time and putting more energy into this more than me? If so, I'm jealous. I got a problem with it. So that's where those tough conversations come into play with the people that you're close with, but use discernment. I'm going to ask her, did you all's prices change?
Yeah, we had to raise them temporarily just because lobster keeps getting more expensive.
Oh, okay, because I was that's why I said, how much? Because I was like, wait a minute, I've come here many a times.
I know.
Yeah, no worries. I just was wondering.
Ready with the number 2 for you?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Of course, have a good one.
You too. So, again, this is not about finding ways to have a conversation so you can snap on a person, or so you could say, I always knew you was against me. No. Or so you could tell your husband or your girlfriend or whoever your significant other is. This is not a means to be able to create something so y'all could have an argument or be rah-rah. No, the goal is to have a healthy partnership, a healthy relationship, healthy family ships, right? Healthy co-worker ships. So this isn't, and I'm not also saying this so you could start peeping game like, yeah, let me start watching the people in my life. No, but what I am saying is, if you lack awareness, you're at a disadvantage. But the more aware you are, the more equipped you will be. And God will give you that awareness. And I can guarantee you that everybody that's going to watch this video, you've had to separate yourself from people for various different reasons. Some you wanted to, some you didn't, some you cried about, some you didn't. So understand that it's definitely a part of life. At some point, you will disconnect from somebody one way or the other. Some point. Whether that's for a long period of time, whether that's just for a second, it's going to happen. So don't be fearful of it, but just get to a place where you're saying, God, I am not going to let anything or anybody stop me from obeying you. And whatever, and here's what you have to be mindful of. When we pray things, we have to be prepared that it will happen. And you just ask God, God, give me the strength, because it could be somebody as close as my mother, my best friend for 15 years, my best friend for 2 years. It could be a coworker that we ace boom coons at work, and she's my go-to. And you can feel like, man, but if I don't have her to talk to, who am I have? Don't fear that. Because ask yourself this, what's more important? Making them happy, which can sometimes make you unhappy, especially if they're not on the same page, or obeying God? Which risk would you take? Red or blue pill? Door number 1 or door number 2? Because you could just about predict what's going to happen if you don't obey God. More stress, frustrations, difficulties, some of the things that you are deserving of, you will not be able to get, you cannot obtain. And if you do obtain it, you won't be able to hold on to it. Right? So now ask yourself, don't look at the person. What's more important? Compromising for the devil or obeying to get your reward from God? I love y'all. We'll talk soon.